Good morning, world.
Good morning.
Welcome to Music Monday.
And for those of you not on YouTube, welcome to a simple music review. Today we're going to take a look at Hi-Rez and Jimmy Levy as they perform this. And I know I pronounced the last name wrong. Levy, whatever it is.
Let us know.
Yes. Their song, God Over Government. Stay tuned. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian.
This came from Lana and Emily. You guys both sent this same recommendation within 5 minutes of each other, and I could sense the excitement in the way you were writing. So you guys have to check out the song. And so we're going to give our review of God Over Government.
We're not a reaction channel. We like to review stuff that you send us. So we have seen this. We're talking about it. We break it down. So don't get mad at us if you think we're not reacting, because we're not. And we do stop a lot. So if you want to watch it talked about, like the guys from the Muppet movies, the Muppet shows, you said, were those two guys talking about that? We're more like Siskel and Ebert for all you old farts like us out there. They watch a movie and then they review it. We're reviewing this while we watch it with you.
Couldn't say it any better than that. I think you guys are going to love it. Jimmy has a great singing voice, Hi-Rez. To use a rapping term, this dude can spit. So once you get to that point, put your seatbelt on. He's going to go, and he's going to go fast.
Here we go.
They want you locked in your home.
Okay.
We will rock you.
That's the first thing that hit me. So I'm a Queen fan also. I just grew up loving the band Queen. When I try to use samples of other bands, we immediately get things on our YouTube
Right.
channel. So I'm not sure how they did that, because this sounds like a sample of the actual song "We Will Rock You." So again, let me know, Hi-Rez and Jimmy, how you do that and keep the monetization coming. So anyways, for those of you, everybody should know it's very universal. It starts off with that "We Will Rock You" beat, which is great. It's an anthem. That's an anthem they play in stadiums.
It's a call to arms. We're getting ready to go into battle.
Yep, here we go.
They want you locked in your home without God and alone. Don't want you looking up Dr. Sebi and Robert Malone.
Okay. Go ahead, get pissed. Cuss at your screen right now. Frickin' Brian stopping it before it even gets going.
Well, this was cool. I know why you're stopping it, because this old Dr. Sebi thing, I'll let you explain that, but I was like, who is that?
Yeah. So we know Dr. Maloney's on the screen right now. Those of you who watched the whole Joe Rogan kerfuffle that we covered, Dr. Malone was one of the doctors that, of course, the left does not want you to listen to because he's a real doctor.
All right.
Dr. Sebi, I had to look him up. So his real name is Alfredo Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1933 in Honduras. Now, it interested me because my wife's side of the family, or my wife's mother's side of the family, is from Honduras. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, okay, let me find out about this guy. So he was a Honduran herbalist, and he was known, he said he cured himself after going to regular doctors of a bunch of ailments. Well, after that, he became the herbalist to the stars back in, I think, the 80s, right?
Yep, and he
70s and 80s.
No other than
Yep. So he was Michael Jackson's herbalist back in the day. Dr. Sebi got in a lot of trouble for practicing medicine without a license, doing all this stuff because he was not a trained medical doctor. But he was what you would consider a healer. Whether you believe in that, whether you don't, that's here nor there. The interesting thing is Dr. Sebi ended up getting arrested in Honduras. He died in a jail cell under Epstein-like conditions.
Very Epstein-esque.
According to the conspiracy theorists, or as we call it now, just theorists. But here's where it takes even another leap. Nipsey Hussle, who was a rapper of the day, he died how many years ago?
It was 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
So he died while he was doing a documentary, or funding a documentary, about Dr. Sebi. So again, the conspiracy theorists thought, they're really trying to shut up this man.
Yeah. I got to look into him now.
Yeah, so.
More in depth.
Anyways, sorry, that's why I stopped it. For those of you, I just gave you a history lesson on who Dr. Sebi was, or Anthony Bowman.
Yes, and we're not going to stop it every 10 seconds, don't worry.
20 seconds.
Yes, we'll double that.
Just a fair warning, I do stop a lot at the beginning, and then towards the end, we just let it go. So we make a lot of our points right at the beginning.
without God and alone. Don't want you looking up Dr. Sebi and Robert Malone. The truth blocked on your phones. They call the shots from their throne. These politicians and these doctors, they are not in control. Jimmy,
uncover the face that the Lord created so it can be seen. Tired of the fake trending all over the place. We just want to be free. There's no fear with faith is praising, still we're hiding underneath all the passive threats and trauma that came from this tyranny.
I love that. I love that.
So first thing, we just want to be free. These are not skinheads. These are not Nazis. These are not
Proud Boys.
They're not insurrectionists, as the left would want you to believe. It's just people that want their basic freedoms. They don't want to inject something they don't know about into their bodies.
You can tell by the title. This song has a lot of biblical undertones, a lot of biblical truths. If that offends you, turn it off now. We're not apologizing for using it. We're apologizing if you're offended. With that being said, the Bible talks about do not fear 365 times. And I love that. I've always loved listening to that because there's 365 days in a year. So each day when you start, it says, do not fear. Go out there, have some faith, because faith and fear cannot reside in the same person. Either you have an abundance of faith or you have an abundance of fear. Whatever you have more of wins.
And then I love here, if you look at that, what's on the screen right now, that's, for those of you who watch YouTube, that's JP Sears. He has Awaken with JP. Great YouTube channel. Watch him out. But below that it says all the passive threats and trauma that came from the tyranny. And the key word here is passive threats, because people on the other side will say nobody's threatening you. Well, they are. It's passively threatening you by saying you're going to lose your job, you're not going to be able to go to school, you all those things that this vaccine mandate is making you do. And I like that JP Sears is there. That's in Washington D.C. for that big protest that was going on there. Peaceful. Those are what are called peaceful protests.
This brazen still we're hiding underneath all the passive threats and trauma that came from this tyranny. We won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases.
The golden cow reference, for those of you who are familiar with the story of Exodus and Moses and his younger brother Aaron. Moses was not a good speaker, so God allowed Aaron to speak on his behalf. Moses went up to Mount Sinai. You guys know what happened there. That's when he received the 10 Commandments. But during the time that he was gone, the people came to Aaron, his brother, and said, we need something tangible. We need something to look at, to focus on, because God isn't here with us. And so Aaron told everyone to take off their watches and their jewelry and everything else golden. They melted that down to a golden calf for them to worship. A lot of that is being done today. We're bowing down to our government. We're bowing down to the mandates. We're bowing down to people who should not be bowed down to, like Lord Fauci, and you're having these monuments made to people like George Floyd, and we're bowing down to these fake idols. Don't fall for the okie doke.
Because you know the Bible better than me. So that's when Moses was going to get the tablets. He comes back, and in one of the commandments, do not
worship any false idols.
Moses
like, what are you doing? I left you in control.
Dang, Aaron. Ron.
Ron's always messing.
We won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government. Won't have it any other way, it's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government.
We just don't understand how they put their faith in man.
The vast majority of people want to be taken care of. That's why it's so easy for the government to introduce programs that people jump all over and say, yeah, take care of me and you have my vote.
Freedom is hard.
It's hard. It's hard. You got to take responsibility.
And that's why a vast majority of countries in the world are okay having dictators, because they're being taken care of. They might be getting taken care of in a crappy way like North Korea, but it's easier than having to make your own decisions.
Right.
Damn it.
Just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government.
God over government, lies that they're covering, innocent suffering. Won't let our freedom just crumble or disappear without a fight in the struggle. They want us so sick and don't want you recovering. Want you depressed and addicted, the pills that they're giving. Not trusting decisions of these politicians. Right or left wing, it's not really that different. But fashion your prison, they want you dependent on them as a sickness. Well, God is my witness, I don't need permission. They causing division through our television. They coming for children and all the traditions. So get ammunition, prepare for the war. The revolution is in store. I'm waiting for them at my door, removing our freedoms to force, of course.
Okay.
Boy, spitting.
Did you catch all that? Even though Hi-Rez puts the lyrics in his videos, you have to be a speed reader just to read as fast as he raps there. So he talks about the innocent suffering, and this goes to everything going on now with the children and saying they have to be vaxxed and masked and all that. They're the innocents that are suffering, and guess what? They're the ones committing suicide at the highest rate right now that in recorded history, I think. Yep. Depression is anxiety. And they want, in that line, I know it's so fast, but they said he wants you depressed and addicted because it feeds the machine. They can depress you, and then Big Pharma, go back to that again, they feed you the pills to handle your depression. Yeah,
we went by that, but there was that one scene where someone was holding up a poster board of Dr. Fauci in 4 different panels, and he kept saying, "I am the science. I am the science." It's like, no, you are a scientist, and even that can be debated.
Yeah, debated at this
point. It's like, and then we don't follow the scientists, we follow the science. And when you have guys like Robert Malone and other people that Joe Rogan have brought on, we're seeing that a lot of things that Dr. Fauci is saying is just not true. And there was a video, and I wish I could find it. There's a video of kids getting the news in their classroom that they no longer have to wear masks. And to see the jubilation and joy and excitement on these kids' faces, even though they can't articulate it, they know this is wrong.
I had a person, I won't mention any names, who was in my office today. And I said, hey, so on Tuesday, are you going to stop wearing the mask? Because I just happen to know that that person wears the mask whether they're in my office or not. In my office, you have to wear it to a healthcare facility. And she goes, yeah, why? And I go, because they're lifting the mask mandates Tuesday. And she said, well, I don't wear the mask because of the mandate. I said, well, then why do you wear it? She goes, because I'm one of the only people that hasn't had COVID and I don't want to get it. And I said, well, then I guess you're going to be wearing that mask forever because COVID's not going away. It's endemic. Everybody knows it's endemic. It's like the flu and the cold. So we can't live in fear.
Right.
Judgment day is more important than court. I feel this deep in my bones and my core. I'm going home till the freedom restored, or until they put me up in the floor. We don't care what they say.
A lot of stuff there again.
I'm tired from listening. Jeez.
So, and I didn't hit this before, and this is where I can disagree with him a little bit. He doesn't think right and left is that different. I disagree. Maybe at one point, I agreed. They seem to be just two corporations controlling either Fox News or MSNBC. As this thing has gone on, though, you can see with just the Freedom Trucker convoy, CNN and MSNBC and ABC and all of the corporate media on one side are calling them insurrectionists, calling them terrorists, basically, white supremacists. And then Fox is at least showing and interviewing people that are actually in the convoy, actual truckers. So at that point, I have to say there is a difference. They may both have their agenda, but I think that one is being more honest, and maybe it's because we lean that way, but we watch both, and we know people that only watch one side. And by watching both, I see one that has a little bit more grains of truth in it than the other.
Yeah, if you watch these truckers in Canada, there hasn't been any uprising, there hasn't been any fights, any terrorism. And if you look at what happened back in 2020 with the burning of cities and the looting of stores, that was referred to as a peaceful protest. And what these people are doing in Canada, that's viewed as an insurrection, and nothing could be further from the truth. There are children right now in 2nd or 3rd grade whose whole school career has been with a mask on if they started in kindergarten. And this whole CRT, and I know there's still stuff out there with that going on. They're coming for our children because old heads like us, it's going to be very hard to change our minds. So they come for our children instead. So when we die out, there's a whole new regime coming through.
Judgment day is more important than court. I feel this deep in my bones and my core. I'm going home till the freedom restored, or until they put me up in the floor. We don't care what they say. It's God over the government. Won't have it any other way. It's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say. It's God over.
So a couple things. I'm just going to back it up to show
Back it up.
these two ladies right here. So the one on the left with the red hat says she's vaccinated, and the other one says she's unvaccinated. But they march against the mandates. You probably have friends that all they do is watch mainstream news like NBC, MSNBC, CNN, whatever. And they're being told over and over again that these things are a bunch of anti-vaxxers. These are two people arm in arm saying, look, I'm not against being vaccinated. And I'm sure the person that's unvaccinated is probably not an anti-vaxxer. They're both against the government telling us that we have to get that vaccine. And then the sign right after it was, leave our kids alone.
Leave the kids alone.
We don't need no education. Okay, that's a different song. And I don't know if you noticed in those, and I'll put them up back here, is that other doctor right there, the gray-haired man, that's is Terry McCullough?
Peter McCullough.
Peter McCullough. He was also on Joe Rogan, and he was the other one besides Dr. Malone that Rogan was vilified for.
Yes.
And then all of those doctors standing there, those are the frontline doctors, and those are the protocol I followed when I had COVID. That's the early treatment for COVID.
Right.
That's what they promote.
A lot of this stuff, God over government, is referring back to the biblical verse, Romans 13:1. As Christians, and when you subscribe to your government, God has put people in charge, and then they've been given charge over us. That doesn't mean that you just follow blindly.
A patient that's cured is a customer loss. People still buy and let the Holocaust happen in front of their eyes while people just die. Stop them in nation, these laws. Hey, government wanna replace all the parents. We cannot let them go tear us apart. Whether this all is apparent or not, don't care if these Karens are caring or not. We're gonna be one nation gone under. If we not one nation under God, bringing the people together through music. Me and Jimmy never gonna stop. I ain't trusting no CNN, MSNBC, and no Fox. Hey, all get funded from the same people trying to keep us all in that box. Hey, I ain't doing this for money. I ain't doing this for no props. We gotta start holding politicians accountable, and that's one. We don't care what they say.
So again, Hi-Rez, pretty fast.
Yep.
This is a funny saying. I have something similar in my office. It says, a patient that's cured is a customer lost. So you go back, I'm sure you've heard that stuff before. Then I like this. We're gonna be one nation gone under if we're not one nation under God. God over government, one nation under God.
Yes.
So I get it, and we have to. You have to have something other than, like he talked about before. You can't worship man. Man is flawed. You have to have something that goes beyond and above that. Otherwise, you just have tyrants.
Yeah. Back in middle school, I thought we were one nation under a groove, getting down just for the funk of it.
Yeah, that was in your neighborhood.
Right. Okay, let's continue.
I do not know what you speak.
Oh,
I'm
my
kidding.
junk can help him out.
I'm kidding. Of course I know that. I'm old like you.
Same people trying to keep us all in that box. Hey, I ain't doing this for money. I ain't doing this for no props. We gotta start holding politicians accountable, and that's one.
We don't care what they say, it's God over the government. Won't have it any other way, it's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government. If we're not one nation under God, then we will be one nation going under. We won't get our freedom back compliant. So parents, please protect your sons and daughters. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government. Won't have it any other way, it's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government.
I love the drums there at the end because it's like the marching drum.
Yeah. Yeah. This invokes images of that movie Braveheart with Mel Gibson.
And fight for freedom. And then this, of course, Do you want to read that? This is a great quote.
Martin Luther King Jr., one has not only a legal, but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. And kind of like I talked about earlier, I mean, like if you're a Christian, you think, well, I got to do what the government says. God put them in charge. You have a right to question what is going on if you feel that it's not something that God would have you do.
But, yeah, when you say God put them in charge, I have to question that, because this country is becoming much more and more secular.
Yes.
It's hard for me to believe, and this is when you can have your battles as a religious person. Did God put Hitler in charge?
No.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, and that's a discussion for another time. You can listen to Dennis Prager. He has these great philosophical discussions about God. You look at a lot of the images, and I'll play them here, put them up here while I'm talking about it. Hi-Rez and Jimmy had to blur out the words vaccine and COVID just from signs that people are holding, just in fear that these corporate overlords known as YouTube, we appreciate YouTube, don't hurt me for this, but they didn't want to be taken off, so they blurred out just signs. I mean, if that's not censorship, being, again, those are the you're not being threatened with a gun. Those are the passive threats.
Right.
It's like, you better blur out the word COVID, otherwise
Right.
we're taking you off our channel.
Right. But we can put up a Cardi B's WAP.
Yeah.
And that's
Of
right.
course.
Yeah.
And then this last sign right here. Dear Democratic Party, you lost me at mandate. Sincerely, a lifelong liberal. I'm hoping more and more good liberals see what's going on and stop voting those people in.
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate you guys watching us, but make sure you go on Spotify, anything that you can download this song to help these two gentlemen out. We got to keep guys like this in the forefront and making that money and doing the right thing for us.
And go listen to it over and over again, because this is one of those songs that, like I said, when I first heard it, I was like, meh. But then the more I listened to it, it's an anthem.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. Whether you're celebrating Valentine's Day today or President's Day, hope you're happy doing that, whatever you're doing. Do not touch me.
Valentine's Day, man.
We don't like
We're not
each
going to
other.
show our love for each
We
other.
don't like each other. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell, share this video, and share our channel with everyone you know. And continue to remember, it is God over government. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
I'm Brian. We'll see you later.